Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another figure news video. Ladies and gentlemen, this may be the latest in the week that I have posted a 2-week figure news cap, though ironically enough, technically it would have been 2 weeks ago yesterday that I am posting this video. It would have been the last figure news video. I'm only getting to this one because over the weekend I actually celebrated me and my mom's birthday. Our birthdays are really close together. It's just kind of funny how life works out that way. But your boy was very busy all weekend, and then these last couple of days I was doing some stuffs, so I did not have time to record this video until now. But we are here and we are going to go through everything that we have. I'm actually kind of glad that I ended up waiting though, because oh boy, do we have some spicy meatballs for you to talk about today with some of the figures that were shown off this week, which I am actually really excited to talk about. So of course, as per usual, we are going to talk about the last 2 weeks of everything that dropped in terms of Dragon Ball related figure news, and starting off on our usual DBZfigures.com. If you would like to pre-order any of the figures that we talked about on the last episode, of course the Matchmakers Oob and Goku, the BOS Beast Gohan, the DXF Orange Piccolo, all of those you can do on the Big Bad Toy Store. And all of them are going to run you the pretty much standard at this point. Prize figure $26.99 price tag. That's basically how much they, have been just kind of listed for nowadays. But you can pre-order them on Big Bad Toy Store. Obviously, there's other places to cop them too, but that is definitely a place that I recommend. And since we're here, might as well take a look. We have the multi-angle clean production images. Very excited about these. Love this little promotional poster, by the way, for Gohan. That looks awesome. Don't remember if we took a look at these in the last one, if we took a look at the multi-angles, because I don't remember if we had them. I think we did, but I don't think they were in this high quality, so I figured I would just kind of start off the video by showing you them. Might as well, since we're kind of talking about those figures at the moment. But anyhow, yes, definitely go cop those boys if you want. I know for a fact I'm actually probably going to be getting all 4 if I'm being honest with you. Like, this is 1 month of figures that I'm definitely very interested in everything that it has to offer, so I'm pretty excited about that. Speaking of a month of releases, we have the Jump calendar figure release for March 2023. Keep in mind, this is obviously for Japan, right? This is not for the US, so we'll be getting these figures later. We actually have some pretty interesting stuff here. We have the X Plus Gigantic Series Bulma, and this figure, surprisingly enough, despite being very, very expensive, as you can see, it is running a $269.99 price tag, which is pretty crazy over on the Big Bad Toy Store. I've actually been seeing, and I believe we talked about in the last figure news video, that this actually sold out a couple of places in Japan, which is kind of crazy. I guess that makes sense though, because we don't really get a ton of Bulma in this particular outfit, and nonetheless, obviously a giant, version of Bulma in this outfit, because obviously the X Plus, the Gigantic series, is always these huge, giant, like foot or more tall figures, so that is pretty cool to get a Bulma figure like that. And we do know, by the way, that this line is also going to be bringing us a Gohan Beast figure next. To my knowledge, we have not seen any images of that figure. I know that it was shown off at the prize fair that we talked about, I think it was 2 videos ago, but unfortunately there were no images shown of it because it was kind of in like the no picture area of the event, and well, people in Japan are a lot more respectful of the rules than us. So we did not get an image of him, unfortunately, but hopefully we will coming up here soon. As well, the History Box Bardock. I am still very much so debating whether or not I want to get this guy. The problem is, like, there really aren't a lot of good Bardock figures. Like, there's a couple, but in all honesty, like, a lot of them have a ton of flaws. I still think easily the best Bardock figure that we have is the Grandiso Super Saiyan or base form. So I don't know. I might pick this guy up just because I'm a Bardock fanboy, but like, We'll see what happens. Although I know for a fact I'm going to be picking up. I almost said figging up, like the fruit or the vegetable. Actually, is a fruit a fig a vegetable or fruit? I actually don't know. Anyway, I don't think I've ever had a fig before. We have the Retsuden 3 Volume 4 Super Saiyan Goku. Obviously, this is the guy that pairs with the Super Saiyan version of Gohan. Very, very excited for this figure. The base form one and the Super Saiyan one both look really good, but for my money, I think I'm going to take the Super Saiyan. And we also have the Super Saiyan version of Vegeta from the same set. It's interesting because they released, I think it was like base form Goku and Gohan were in one set, but then like base Vegeta was in with another character, and then they released Gohan with somebody else, unless I'm confusing it, and Gohan released with base Vegeta for base Gohan. I don't remember, but it was really weird that they didn't just do like Gohan and Goku and Gohan and Goku, and they stuck Vegeta in the middle of it. But I guess it's because it's like this armor set. It's kind of weird that they didn't do an armored Trunks, but maybe that's because the Solid Edge Works one that came out, I think, last year now, and even though that one's kind of awful. Anyway, though, obviously Vegeta himself, and of course, the BOS 13 special version Gohan, the Super Saiyan Gohan from Superhero. I know a lot of people might be excited for this guy because obviously, you know, he is a superhero figure. Me personally, I don't know if I'm going to cop this guy just because, I don't know. I mean, I'd rather just save my money for the Gohan Beast figures. I do want like one Super Saiyan Gohan, but to be fair, I'll probably just, you know, I can just use the SH Figuarts head for him if I really want to, though I'll probably use the glasses head for Gohan if that's the case. But nonetheless, though, this guy also releasing as well. Definitely going to be interesting to see him next to the Gohan Beast, though. Of course, that being, he's back here. This guy. Because obviously this figure is literally coming out right after this guy in terms of, like, the line, right? This is 13 and this guy's 14. So that'll be interesting to see. We do have Dragon Ball Adverge Set Volume 5 and 6, the box set of 4 figures. Big Bad Toy Store announced pre-orders for these 2 sets, which will be available in the second quarter of 2023. As you can see, Volume 5 is Future Trunks, and Volume 6 is Cell Saga. I do quite like... Wait, hold on. wait a minute. Hold on. Everyone, Goku, what are you doing there? One of these things is not like the other. Well, I will say, from these particular production images, these figures don't actually look that good, but I do have a bunch of Dragon Ball Adverge figures, and I really like them, so I don't know, maybe they just picked some ones with poor quality control or something like that, but a lot of the time I've seen these actually in, like, Target and stuff like that, where it's actually like this full set of 4 figures that you can get. Because usually in Japan... Oh, it's actually Blue Evo. Yeah, wait, then how is this Future Trunks? I guess it's TOP in Future Trunks? Yeah, they look like this, right? I have seen them more so in individual boxes that come in like a case, right? Because usually I get them from the place that I cop my V-Jump magazines. And so that's how they sell them in Japan. They sell these in these little like cases like in the candy toy aisle. But for us in the States, we get them a lot like this, where it's these sets of 4. Yeah, that's kind of a weird mishmash of characters there, if I'm being honest with you. But if you are interested in minifigures for either of these sagas, these are definitely very, very good choices. Personally, I'm a fan of Dragon Ball Adverge. Obviously, if you don't like Chiba-fied versions of the characters or anything like that, I completely understand. And of course, $30 is kind of a lot to ask for, you know, a bunch of minifigures. But to be fair, surprisingly enough, when it comes to these guys, I have seen them retail anywhere from $8 to $10 a piece. So realistically, I guess if you're going by the retail price, this really isn't that bad of a deal. I know I've paid that much for a Dragon Ball Adverge figure before, but to be fair, it was also just kind of like a impromptu buy. But nonetheless, if you are interested, I would say that they're worth the money. They're pretty cool little minifigures. And this was something that I just wanted to cover real quick. I'm sure some of you may have seen... Smile, bro. I'm sure some of you may have seen this floating around Twitter on actual Saiyan Day. Basically, they did a campaign for the official Dragon Ball website, where I believe it's only if you live in Japan, unfortunately. But basically, you can win a official... Oh no, it looks like you can if you're in English too. Huh. Interesting. I actually thought that this was Japanese only. Well, shoot, hold on, let me retweet that real quick. Oh yeah, funny enough, they made a post about the, wait. Cholrit. Oh, okay, yeah, that is correct. I was like, what? Yeah, I didn't realize that that was on the English post there. Yeah, right here. Basically, they made like a real version of the Saiyaman helmets, which I guess you can actually win, which is kind of funny. Very, very interesting, to say the least. It kind of seems like that on the official Twitter here, there's not actually a post to retweet and win the helmet, right? Like, it just shows that they did it. There's not like an entry thing that the website is kind of implying here, right? Very, very interesting. Retweet the relevant campaign post, but it doesn't actually say it. Oh, maybe it's this? No, this is the second one where they're giving out a bunch of free Twitter banners. Interesting. Well, I don't actually know then how you enter in on the American side. I know on the, or I guess I should say the English-speaking side. I know that on the Japanese version, there is just a tweet where you can retweet and win this, but that's kind of interesting. I have noticed that about the official Dragon Ball website. That is something that's kind of interesting, is that I feel like they translate stuff a lot of the time, and then they just do a direct translation, and then they just kind of put the English stuff there. But a lot of the time, the English stuff isn't actually doing the same thing that the Japanese one is, which is really weird. Like, recently, they translated something for Dokkan that wasn't available on the global version, but they said that it was because they're just kind of directly translating it over, even though they had an English version of the event that was only out in Japanese at the time. So, I don't know. I think this is just something that they kind of need to work out with the Dragon Ball official site, because I feel like I've seen them do this a few times where they say something is available in English when it's not. So I'll have to do a little bit more research into this if I can find this, or if you in the comment section below can find a solution to this. Definitely let me know. But, oh boy. Let's talk about our final thing that we got on Dragon Ball figure news. So some of you... Or on Dragon Ball Figure News. I meant on dbzfigures.com. Sorry. Boy, I'm not happy about this one. So, if you guys remember, I made this video a little while ago. The Breaking News They Listened video. Talking about how they lowered the prices for the Ichiban show for the Dragon Ball figures, right? For the set with Goku, Grandpa Gohan, Master Roshi, and Ox King. Well, it seems that my premonition in that video was correct, because I talked about how that I was really hoping that it wasn't just for this particular set, because that set was a little bit of a smaller one, that they decided to make it a little bit cheaper. And it seems that me and my big mouth have spoken once again, and that is indeed the case. You guys probably remember we talked about in the last video this upcoming Ichiban Kuji, all themed around the Namek Saga, and it looks like that indeed we have gone right back to our overpriced shenanigans when it comes to Bandai, which is really, really unfortunate to see. So I was kind of thinking they were going to go in the right direction, but clearly that is not the case here. We'll take a look at some more HD multi-angles in a little bit on Baggy's Twitter, because the Big Bad Toy Store kind of displays these images in like sort of low-ish quality. They're like kind of pixelated a little bit. So I'll show you those on Baggy's Twitter in a second here. But as you can see, the price for the Ichiban show Goku and Frieza is $75. I will tell you, this one is kind of a wild case for me, honestly, because we literally had a set with Goku and Frieza from the scene where they defeat Jiren at the end of the Tournament of Power, where both a Goku and Frieza was inside the package, and that was only 50 bucks, right? That is literally sitting in the corner of my room right now. And they had the audacity to charge $25 more for virtually the same thing. And I think these ones might even be smaller than those, ironically enough. it's just such a shame to see. Literally, basically the exact same thing was 25 bucks less the last time they came out with a Goku and Frieza Ichiban Kuji. Like, basically where two figures were a part of one prize, right? Kind of crazy, to be honest with you. As you can see, Krillin himself is $50. By the way, again, 6.7 inches for Krillin. $45 for Gohan, 5.9 inches, by the way. Actually, I just realized we could look at Goku and Frieza. Yeah, Goku is 8.7 and Frieza is 6.7 inches. For the second form Frieza, he is going to run you a fat $70, and he is 6.3 inches. Obviously, he is going to be a little bit bigger, though, because that really doesn't seem like that bigger than Krillin, right? Because Krillin's 6.7. And wow, he's actually going to... Wait, what? He's smaller than Krillin? Huh. Interesting choice. Huh. Okay. I was going to say, I assume that Frieza will probably be a little bit bigger because he'll be bulkier rather than... you know, like, obviously Krillin will be, like, a little short, but around his size, but obviously he won't be as big. But, no, I guess Krillin is just straight up taller. Okay. And they're still charging more for second form Frieza. And third form Frieza is also going to be $70, and a lot bigger at 8.3 inches. Interesting. Maybe this is just a mess up on Big Bad Toy Store's part, but usually they're pretty good about this type of stuff, so I kind of doubt it. Very interesting, to say the least, but nonetheless, just extremely disappointing to see. I guess it was just wishful thinking that we were going in the right direction when it comes to Bandai. I definitely don't think that these figures are worth this price tag, and this is really a shame because I was honestly really looking forward to this Ichiban Kuji set. I guess I'll just have to import it. Very unfortunate, though, because obviously I know for people who are planning on buying these for just the overseas version, I assume that most people are probably not going to want to get it now. Like, dude, $100 for Krillin and Gohan of this size is just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, such a shame, to be honest with you. Let me know what you think in the comments section below, though. I do know that we have one tweet if we scroll up just a little bit here regarding the current set that we were just looking at here. Yeah, the ratios for this set is pretty bad. As you can see, for the prize A, D, E, and F, there's only one figure that is going to be available per store. And then for prize B and C, which is Krillin and Gohan, there's going to be two. Then obviously for the smaller prizes, those are there. Very, very unfortunate to see, because this also means that even if you want to import these, it's also going to be harder to do for that reason, because then, since there's less of them out there, right, then that also means that it's going to be harder to import them because there's just going to be not as many flooding the market. Very, very unfortunate. Yeah, and this is also a very good point by Baggy, right? Namek, Krillin, and Gohan already have prize figures, so they definitely shouldn't be lot ratio 2, because obviously there's two versions of these guys that are a lot more readily available than, you know, the rest of the figures in the set, especially those two Frieza figures. And actually a very good point that Miss TBZ Babe makes here, that why did we not get a Vegeta armor figure in this set? Because we literally get the, like, never get the Namek Saga armor for Vegeta. So kind of unfortunate. And this is also a very good point by Baggy, to be honest with you. It's kind of crazy. Third form Frieza is locked behind a basically $90 SH Figuarts figure, a 30,000 yen, basically around 300 bucks, Dragon Ball Arise figure, and the 1 ratio Kuji. Yeah, all because Bandai doesn't have any competition. I almost said compilation. Competition, and basically they can just kind of do whatever they want when it comes to Dragon Ball merch. I've said this in a couple of videos before, but I would love if some other company could, like, get the licensing for Dragon Ball merch. And I mean, like, seriously, right? Because obviously there are other companies, like, funny enough, PICCOLO makes a point, like Kong Studios and Demoniacal Fit, right? Obviously those are studios that do make Dragon Ball stuff, but they're third-party companies, right? It's not official stuff. And even though you can, of course, collect that too, right? Obviously, there is a big difference between third-party companies and the official stuff. People obviously want to collect what they, you know, see as the quote-unquote official piece of merchandise, right? And that type of stuff will always be worth a little bit more money than third-party stuff will. And not to mention, obviously, if anything is official, it just gets more into the public eye rather than the third-party stuff. So I would really like to see it. I know there are a couple of companies out there that make some like little things for Dragon Ball merch that aren't Bandai, right? But obviously it's not to the degree that Bandai makes Dragon Ball figures, right? So I would absolutely love to see it someday. I don't know if we will ever get to that point because it kind of seems like they just have a, you know, very hard grip on the Dragon Ball merchandise side of things. But, you know, I suppose it is what it is. And this was also something that was kind of interesting regarding this. The May Quintuplets Kuji has 5 figures, all at ratio 2. So they can produce 2 figures each, but choose not to because Dragon Ball has no competition, so there's no incentive. If you're unaware, the Quintessential Quintuplets has a ton of competition for figures because there's a bunch of companies that have the licensing to be able to produce figures for this series. So yeah, kind of unfortunate in that regard when it comes to this Ichiban Kuji. This was kind of interesting. We talked about a while ago for the Ginyu Force Ichiban Kuji that prize G is going to be a container box, which is kind of an interesting choice. And as you can see here, it's going to be 20 centimeters. And apparently it's only 1 lot ratio. As you can see, it has the Ginyu Force on the top of the container there as like a little bit of a silhouette. Just like such a strange item to make. I guess it's because I think the Ginyu Force, I don't know if I'm actually remembering this or making this up, to be honest with you, but I feel like I remember in the anime they had some kind of like crate that they threw down when they arrived on Namek that had like their stuff in it or something like that. So maybe that's what this is supposed to be. But I don't know. Kind of weird. It is going to be interesting, I agree with Baggy, that it's going to be curious to see what the price of this thing ends up being on the market, because this is just like such a strange item. Definitely going to be interesting to see. We also have right up here, apparently for the prize F, it's going to be an acrylic stand, and it is going to be 20 centimeters. So that will be interesting to see what those acrylic stands look like. I do know in Japan they love their acrylic stands over there. I know they go crazy for those things, so it makes sense that they would include some in there. So it's going to be interesting to see what those actually look like in terms of what characters they choose and what scenes and what not. We did have this little piece of information, which is kind of unfortunate. There is no, I don't know what I was going to say there, Europe Ichiban show for the Battle on Planet Namek. And what's interesting about that is US lost the My Hero Kuji due to no one drawing and started getting Ichiban show again. But Europe, we have to worry about several countries, yeah. Which is kind of interesting because they tried doing this with the Ichiban Kuji figures. They tried like actually having the lottery in Europe for a little while, and literally nobody did it. Because it's not worth it. You pay like, I think the one in Europe was like crazy expensive compared to what it is in Japan. Like I think in Japan the ticket is like 400 or 600 yen depending on Ichiban Kuji, and in Europe it was like 15 bucks, you know, equating it from euros to USD, or something like that, right? And of course, who's gonna play that and then they get like a towel for $15? You know what I mean? And you don't end up getting a figure when you could just pay the money for the figure outright and just get it, even if it's more expensive, right? Because if you play the Ichiban Kuji a bunch of times where you could have just outright bought the figure rather than, you know, playing the Kuji over and over to get it, then why would you not just outright buy the figure? So yeah, makes sense that they just went back to doing the Ichiban show, but kind of unfortunate. But at the same time, for these prices, I don't know if anybody was going to be playing, or if anyone was going to be playing, if anybody was going to be buying the Ichiban show anyhow. This was an interesting one from Toei Animation's new series of Resin statues, Volume 1, The Sun Family. It really seems like that Toei and, I guess just Toei, has been trying to get into, like, the Resin statue game, which is really interesting. They partnered with a couple of companies that we've talked about in a bunch of different figure news videos. But it seems like now with this figure, they really are the only brand on this image. Maybe there's another company that's like the people that they're contracting for this and it just doesn't say it on there. But it is really interesting. I feel like they maybe just saw like how popular the third party, you know, like figure game was, because obviously resin statues are such a huge thing when it comes to Dragon Ball from, you know, third party companies, that they're like, oh, we need to make our own official stuff. Like maybe that's just kind of their thought process on this, because I feel like I've seen so many resin statues from them in recent time. But yeah, kind of interesting. Definitely a very cute figure. I'm wondering how much this is going to cost. Obviously, this is not quite like the regular prize figures. Like, you can tell that the scale is a little bit different for Goku and Chi-Chi compared to, like, Ox King and Gohan. And, like, it's a little bit of a different style. Again, it's definitely a resin statue. You can tell that by looking at it. It's not the same type of material that your typical Dragon Ball prize figure, Ichiban Kuji figure, is made out of. So, of course, you know, if you're not really a fan of this sort of style, I completely understand, because obviously resin statues definitely have a little bit of a different look to them than your typical Dragon Ball figure. I think it kind of depends for me on the way that the statue is made and whatnot. But, you know, it almost kind of reminds me of something like, I don't want to say something my grandma would have, but, like, that sort of, like, material that it's made of kind of reminds me of, like, that sort of, like, statue. Obviously, not what it looks like, because, of course, I don't think grandma's going to be rocking the Sun Family Dragon Ball Z statue. I mean, that would be pretty cool. But, nonetheless, this does look very nice. I'll be curious to see how much the price of this thing is, because a lot of the time these resin statues tend to be kind of overpriced, so it'll be interesting to see how Toei themselves actually prices it. The other thing that we had was the more stylized Gohan Beast production images, which is pretty cool. They like to do these where they have them on like a little stand and then they kind of give them a cute little background and stuff like that. It's pretty cool, I will say. Definitely like the purple, obviously kind of referencing the scene from the movie. We've basically seen all the angles for my man already, though, but he definitely looks very, very good. We had 2 IRL pictures of the Goku and Vegeta in the Saiyan armor. I will say, the lighting on Vegeta here for this picture is awful. But I think Vegeta actually does look pretty good. Definitely better than the original images that I felt like I was seeing for this guy. Like, I think we saw this on display at some event or something like that. And honestly, this looks much better than it did. I think he would benefit more from a smile, which, funny enough, I think that the base form version has. But nonetheless, I feel like this head looks really good. And Goku, bro, oh! My man is looking very, very clean. Again, ironically enough, the lighting is terrible on this one for the wrong reason, though. It's too dark, whereas the Vegeta is too bright. I don't know why he also has a wire running over his foot. That's a little bit weird. But nonetheless, this guy definitely looks very, very nice, and I'm very excited to cop this guy. Very interesting factoid here. The BOS Super Saiyan Gohan has 763 Game Station orders, which for modern Dragon Ball figures is honestly pretty crazy, because a lot of the time the Game Station orders are definitely not what they were a couple of years ago. So it's kind of crazy to see a order that high. And I agree with Baggy on this 100%. I will be absolutely shocked if the BOS Beast doesn't hit 1,000 in terms of the orders, because obviously, you know, new form, right? It's Gohan. Gohan has been going crazy in terms of popularity with merchandise over in Japan recently because of the movie. So definitely going to be excited to see the numbers that my man hits for sure. The July Bam Presto prize figure Japanese release weeks. For a week 2 in July is when we're going to be getting the Gohan, the big boy himself, of course, Gohan Beast. Week 3 is when we're going to be getting Goku and Oob, thank God they actually come out at the same time, because a lot of the time when they do duo figures, they tend to release them at separate times, which is very annoying. And then week 4 will be when we're actually getting Orange Piccolo, so definitely look forward to that. That'll be in the summer, actually, so that'll be pretty cool to be able to get those in the summertime. I'll be sweating my full butt off recording those videos, I'm sure. And this was a little interesting fact about the BOS Gohan Beast. He'll be 18 centimeters, including the tip of the hair, so honestly a pretty good size figure. I have a feeling that I'm going to be saying that a lot when I'm going to be taking a look at the upcoming Gohan Beast figures that we have coming down the pipeline, where they're not going to be like too incredibly tall, but the hair is really what's going to make them super tall. The hair is going to be the aspect of them that makes them feel a lot bigger than they actually are, which I obviously do not have a problem with. Here we finally arrive at the multi-angles for the Planet Namek Saga Ichiban Kuji. Again, these guys look really, really good. Like, I think there's no denying that. This set looks fantastic. And Goku looks even better than I thought he did, honestly. Like, the angle for him, obviously in reference to the piece of art, looks really good. But of course, it's always impressive to see a figure sculptor take a 2D image and turn it into a really good-looking 3D figure, right? Of course, that is certainly no easy task. And I think they did a very good job of it. Obviously, it's a lot easier with Frieza because, of course, he's a lot more round in his design and Goku has the super spiky hair. So I think they did a pretty good job, honestly, translating this into 3D. We also have Krillin and Gohan here. I guess they don't have the multi-angles, so we'll have to take a look at those on Big Bad Toy Store. We do have them for the Frieza here, though. Again, he does look pretty good, if I do say so myself. And as you can see here, here is third form Frieza. I like that they made the spikes on his back really, really big. Definitely very cool, because I feel like when I've seen that in the past, they're not that big. So that is definitely pretty cool. I guess let's take a look then at Gohan and Krillin, since they don't. I mean, to be fair, like, I guess what do you expect for these guys? It's pretty much like, you know, what you would think, right? Obviously, the other figures in this set have a lot more, like, to their design, right? Of course, it's basically just the back of their armor, right? It's not really too much to write home about. And ironically enough, I kind of forgot about this, sort of remembered, that Baggy, funny enough, made a tweet about this, because I know I saw some people saying that for the duo Frieza and Goku figure, right, this might be worth the price for the 75 bucks. Yeah, this is literally exactly what I was talking about here, right? They charge 50 bucks for the TOP Goku and Frieza, right? They came in the same box. It was the same set. I paid 50 bucks for these as well, right? And the set for these guys is 75. Kind of crazy, dude. I ain't even gonna front with you. It's just sort of wild to me that they're able to just sort of get away with this type of thing. We have some close-up images of the BOS Special Super Saiyan Superhero Gohan. I gotta admit, this guy looks better than I was expecting him to, for sure, right? I think that he definitely looks a lot better in terms of sculpt and in terms of face than I was expecting. However, I think he's just kind of like basic, I guess, is just the best way to describe it. Like, I know even the, like, DXF Gohan Beast, you could definitely see that for, like, he's just standing there. But I don't know. This just feels like a very, like, basic Super Saiyan Gohan figure. I don't think it's bad by any means. It just doesn't scream to me like, holy cow, you know what I mean, or anything like that. It's just a decent figure, right? Which, I mean, I'm glad, because obviously I would rather the figure look good, you know, and just, like, be like, yeah, that looks like a good figure, than obviously have the figure be bad. I will say the one thing that does look a little bit strange to me that I've seen with these images is I do feel like the shiny paint looks a little bit crunchy. On every single BOS figure that I own, I've never seen paint where it kind of looks like this, where it almost looks like it's, like, peeling or flaking or something like that. Maybe it's just the picture, I don't know, but it looks like this on both of these pictures here, which is kind of a little bit alarming, I'm not gonna lie. And I will say, his chest does look a little lopsided, but I'm kind of wondering if that's just because it's the angle, right, that you're kind of seeing it at. Or maybe it's just because, like, here, right, you can see that obviously more of the fabric is, you know, off of his chest on this side, which actually is a pretty cool detail because obviously if he's pulling his arm forward, right, the little bit of fabric on that side of his chest would be being pulled off of his chest. So maybe that's kind of why it gives that little bit of an illusion, because I think the actual chest in there looks fine. But either way, though, the hair thing, definitely I would need to see that like in person or maybe see a video of it to see that. This was also another interesting little thing here. The history box, Bardock's official height was 14 centimeters and Gohan was 12. But you can see that Gohan is much bigger. Yeah, kind of weird, honestly. Heights are always weird until you see them IRL. So just be glad we got confirmation that Beast is really going to be 18 centimeters. Yeah. Of course, that being the BOS Gohan Beast. So that is another reason, like I was talking about before, that I was saying like, oh, Krillin surely is not going to be bigger than second form Frieza for that Ichiban Kuji figure. This is the type of thing that kind of makes me think that that will probably be the case. It's kind of weird, right? I'm assuming what happened here is that maybe they... Well, no, they said that it was going to be 14. Huh. Yeah, I don't know how that applies to Gohan then. Maybe what's going on here is that they... The only thing that I could think that would make sense for that is for Gohan, they measured from his feet to his hair. But for Bardock, they included the stand because it's technically part of the figure, right? Like the rock base. But obviously, since Gohan has the little bit of extra on the, you know, black base that he's standing on, then maybe he gets a little bit of extra height. That's really all I can think of. Because I don't know if you took away the base, they would be closer in size. But I feel like Gohan would still be bigger. I don't know. Kind of interesting that they're just a little bit janky. And all the more reason why you can't trust Bandai with the information they give you. We do have more high quality versions of the multi-angles for the Planet Namek Ichiban Kuji. I'm going to go through these a little bit quicker because obviously we saw them in the big form before, but I wanted to highlight this picture right here, bro. Look how good Goku's face looks for this figure, dude. Holy cow. I really hope it turns out looking actually that good in the final product. Even Frieza's face looks fantastic here. Yeah, it's just such a shame, dude, because these figures look so nice in terms of the quality, right? This looks like a pretty decent Ichiban Kuji, but if that price tag is not very concerning, disillusioning is, I don't think that's the right word, disheartening maybe, you know. Definitely a little unfortunate with that price tag for sure. The other thing that we had a little bit scrolling up here. Yeah, so this was something interesting. You guys probably remember me talking about in the Gohan Beast and the Orange Piccolo videos for the SH Figuarts figures. That I was saying, hey, definitely pick up these guys as soon as you can. Because obviously, you know, they're only going to be sold until they have run out of copies, basically, right? Like they're going to make as many as they're going to make with just like a sectioned number, and then as soon as they run out of them, they're gone forever. And the interesting thing about that is that you can see as the tweet states here, and if you go on the Premium Bandai website, Piccolo or Gohan still haven't sold out in Japan or the US, which is crazy to say the least, considering that you would think that this would be one of the most exciting figure releases of like all time, frankly. Like definitely in recent time at least, right? I definitely agree with Baggy here on this one, right? It is such a terrible decision to not only release these guys at such a high price, right? To pay it all up front and then release the character literally a year after the movie has come out, like literally on the movie's anniversary, basically. And not to mention, right, obviously we've talked about in the past that I think my big thing with Premium Bandai, at least in terms of like figures like these, right? Because obviously releasing characters that not as many people would buy, right? Like obviously if you walk into a store, right, and you're just a general Dragon Ball fan and you're not as like in the rabbit hole, I guess is probably, you know, you or I, the viewer, may be, right? Obviously you're probably more likely to just cop a Goku or a Vegeta or a Gohan, right, rather than like matureless or cooler or something like that. Even though obviously if you've seen a lot of Dragon Ball material, maybe you still care about them. But you understand my point, right? So it makes more sense to have figures like that be premium Bandai figures. But obviously, stuff like this that is the new form from the new movie, you would think you would want it to be as widely available as possible. Because this is the type of thing where if you were going to charge like a little bit less for it, but you made it more widely available, you would make more money rather than limiting it to your silly premium website and charging a higher amount for it. Because now they're suffering because, you know, they're not going to sell as many copies as they hope to because it's on a website that only people who are really, you know, in the know about Dragon Ball figures and whatnot are going to know about. And not to mention, even if you know about it, I know for sure a lot of people would look at this and go, $60 for Gohan Beast when he's, you know, the size of like from my pointer finger to the bottom of my hand? Like, no thank you. You know what I mean? So I don't know, just kind of a silly decision for sure. And this was something else that I found interesting that definitely was something to note that Baggy put up here. Yeah, it's kind of crazy with these price hikes. And this is also something I just like to include in these videos because, of course, you know, I talk about all the time that Bandai's quality has not gone up despite the fact that they're charging so much more for these figures, right? And this is a great example here, right? This Vegeta, they're charging $60, and it literally just looks like someone went over his lines with black marker right for the eyes. Obviously, they're trying to get that sort of like anime-esque style, but it literally not only looks like he just has black eyeliner, especially on this image, right? On this side of the eye, this literally looks like someone went over it with black marker because it doesn't look even at all, and the lines are way too thick. It honestly looks like a bootleg, and this is an official figure, which is just kind of crazy to think. So I always like to include stuff like this in these videos to kind of, you know, like explain to you why, you know, me and Baggy talk so much about how Bandai's quality control has gone down while the prices go up, and obviously it's just such a ridiculous circumstance. Because obviously I don't want it to just seem like I'm just complaining for no reason, you know what I mean? Oh, this was the other thing I wanted to kind of include in here real quick. Even though this is not figure related, right? I know that I said that I was going to include this in a figure news video whenever we got info about it, and finally we got a little bit of info that Superhero is going to be releasing in home video outside of Japan. Sadly, no new art, which kind of, you know, makes sense to me, to be honest with you. It's just everything that we've seen before, but nonetheless, definitely very, very cool. Obviously, this is what the Blu-ray looks like. And we have the, I think this is the, I don't remember if this one is the Blu-ray in here or not, but apparently they put the best art inside the digital pack, which is kind of silly to say the least, right? You can see that the art is in there, and it's obviously this big piece of art that you've seen over and over. And nonetheless, I will recommend, if you are going to do this, wait for the 4K one. And that's not to say that you need to watch the movie in 4K. It's because the 4K version of it, right, the like digital version and the just like high quality version of it that's not the Blu-ray has like just a 1080p one. The reason why I say that is because the Blu-ray has the classic green tint. If you're kind of unaware about this sort of thing, the TLDR is that whenever Toei releases their movies on Blu-ray specifically, not the 4K version of the movie, which again doesn't have it only in 4K, it has it in other video qualities as well. We just call it that because it's just easier to differentiate it from the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray version has a very weird green filter over the entire movie that's not like something you can take off or anything like that. It's just kind of there. So definitely recommend watching it with that version of it when you can get your hands on it. But I'm excited they actually like gave us confirmation that we're finally getting it outside of Japan, because I was very much so looking forward to that. Time to watch the movie for a 6th time, baby. Alright, we got one more tweet before we got the big bad boy in the thumbnail, so stick with me here. FYI, they have stopped the base information for the Bam Presto prize figures now. For example, the matchmakers, holy cow, sorry, I saw the M and the X and I thought matchmakers. The GX Materia 16, for example, is originally stated to have a normal base, but as you can see here, it doesn't. He has the little knee base, which I never thought I would say that. And as you can see here, right, so it looks like the bases will be decided during the final production now obviously, you know, with that little piece of information in mind, you can also see Piccolo has a base there. So basically we'll have to wait until the final version now to see if a figure has a base or a foot base. Hopefully the boy Gohan Beast has a foot base. The literal difference, by the way, being exactly what's here, right? A foot base, typically we call that because it's actually on the foot. It's just kind of, you know, on 16's knee this time, because that's where he needs the support. But the foot base, right, would look like this. It's basically a little just chunk of plastic that kind of sticks around their foot. Whereas the regular base, right, looks like this, where it is a big hunk of plastic that is flat that the figure sticks onto. Typically, there are pegs on the base and holes on the bottom of the feet of the figure, so you can just stick it right on the base. But one thing that Bandai has actually been doing a lot lately that is honestly really unfortunate is that they've been putting the pegs on the bottom of the feet of the figure and then holes on the base, which stinks because if they had just had holes in the figure and the pegs on the base, then you could take the figure off of the base and display it on the shelf with a different kind of base if you really wanted to. Or if the figure can just stand on its own without the base, then obviously you don't even need the base there, right? But obviously that only works if there aren't pegs sticking out of the bottom of the feet, because then of course the figure can't stand. So hopefully for Piccolo as well, that'll be the case for him. But nonetheless, yes, this is kind of the little bit of base information. It's kind of funny to think how important the bases are for Dragon Ball figures like that, but it is definitely an integral part of the figure. Ladies and gentlemen, whoo-wee, do we got some exciting stuff coming up in August. First of all, we have the History Box Orange Piccolo. Oh, this guy looks crazy, bro. Not only is this, I think, easily the best figure that I've seen, and I mean, like, there's only like 3 Orange Piccolo figures anyway, but this is easily the best pose and the best figure that I have seen for Orange Piccolo thus far, where he's, you know, just coming out of transforming and he's like walking forward, right? Holy cow, this guy looks crazy, bro. This is sick. They got the fire on him, the orange aura coming off of him just after transforming. I can't believe this is a History Box figure, dude. This is crazy. This looks like some Figuart Zero type of shenanigans, right? Because this person, funny enough, even asked that, is this Figuart Zero? No, it's History Box, which is crazy. The same line that we saw that Bardock figure from. So that is going to be the only unfortunate thing about this, guys. He's going to be really small. Hopefully they'll make him a little bit bigger because he's Orange Piccolo, and it seems like all of these figure companies kind of understand that they need to make this guy a little bit bigger than their normal figure, because obviously even regular Orange Piccolo is really big, you know, not even like considering the giant, you know, form that he takes in the movie. But holy cow, dude, this is so cool. I'm really excited for this guy. We actually have another image of him to take a look at in a minute here, but we also have the GX Materia Master Roshi. We talked about that Master Roshi was going to be getting a GX Materia figure in the future, and holy moly, this looks pretty cool if I do say so myself. The style looks very, very Dragon Ball-esque in terms of the face sculpt, which I am pretty excited about. I will say one thing that's a little bit weird is that I do notice there is like some scuffing on the part right here, but what this kind of looks like to me is these come on runners usually, right? Like you have to kind of like break these off of like the little things they have contained on in the box, and I wonder if the person who put this together broke it incorrectly and kind of left this blue mark on there, resulting in this. Also, this blue line goes behind his hands, which kind of doesn't really make sense. I mean, I guess so. Like, obviously, these beams would be shooting out everywhere, but I wonder if the person who put this together put it together wrong, or if that's just an error, because this right here is kind of making me think that maybe the person who put this together for the production of it just did it wrong. But nonetheless, he still looks absolutely fantastic, if I do say so myself. Obviously, GX Materia there. Definitely could maybe have a couple more beams, but I understand why they didn't do one there and there, because it would have been weird with the angle that his hands are at. We also have the BOS Future Gohan, which is really, really cool. Obviously, Future Gohan does not get enough figures, so I am really excited for this. I think the last one that we got actually was the Dragon Ball Legends yellow collab the yellow Dragon Ball Legends, the yellow Future Gohan card from Dragon Ball Legends got a collab figure. I think that was the last one, if memory serves. So very cool to get another one. Kind of unfortunate that he doesn't have another arm, but obviously this is from the scene where or another arm, where he has one less arm, I guess I should say. But obviously, you know, this is from before he loses the arm. So definitely very, very cool. Definitely excited to get this one. I'll be happy to see when they give us a different angle, because obviously this is a power pose and he's leaning back, so that's why his face and like his hair looks kind of weird. But I think they did a good job with the hair obviously being super short, so hopefully we get some more angles of that guy eventually. And the superhero Trunks, this guy looks awesome, dude. I was so excited for these figures. This is the DXF one, by the way. This is so cool, dude. I was really hoping that we would get something for the new outfits for Goten and Trunks. So I am very happy that we are at least getting a couple of figures of them. I don't know if SH Figuarts will maybe do figures of them. That would be really cool. But obviously we have the DXF one. And by the way, this person makes a good point. Goten, though, is going to be for September. If you're kind of like, well, why do they have Trunks and not Goten? They are going to be releasing him basically the month after Trunks, which they kind of like to do that. Usually I would say that that's a little bit of like a stinky choice, because you would think that the figures that they would want to pair up together, you would have them released during the same time. But to be fair, this is the DXF line, and they've been kind of doing like monthly releases, so it makes a little bit more sense for them to do it that way. But Trunks looks fantastic, dude. Like, I'm honestly, listen, everything here looks really good in my opinion. Like, I don't think that there's a bad figure out of the bunch. But I honestly think that Trunks might look the best. I know that's kind of crazy saying that, considering Orange Piccolo is there. But maybe it's just because we haven't had a figure of this guy yet that it's so exciting. But I think, like, his face looks perfect. The outfit looks perfect. I'm very excited for him. And we also have up here, there we go, the... Dude, look at this. This is crazy. This is definitely the thumbnail, by the way. This is an insane image, dude. Holy. Obviously, they put the orange background in there. Gave him a little orange light for the transformation sequence. This is crazy. And keep in mind, this is going to be a prize figure, so he will run you around the $27 mark for the typical prize figure price. Dude, this guy goes crazy. This person put it well. Okay, this goes off. I agree with that guy, dude. Holy. This is such a cool looking figure. I'm very excited to see the multiple angles of this guy. Honestly, this is probably the Orange Piccolo figure that I'm most excited for now. I was excited for the DXF one. I was excited for the Kuji one when they announced it. Obviously, the SH Figuarts one. But this is my... this is my Orange Piccolo figure right here, bro. This is the GOAT as far as I'm concerned. This looks amazing, dude. Holy cow. I'm so excited for this. We also have a special production image for Master Roshi as well, with some very cool lighting at play. Yeah, this definitely looks a lot better. I'm wondering if this is this the same image but edited? Let me see. It does kind of look like it has the same scuff there, which is kind of interesting. So maybe it's the same figure, but this looks like it's a lot more in front of his hands rather than when we were seeing it in the production image there, the regular one. It looked like it was kind of behind his finger, but Roshi looks good too. I will say, I know his face might look a little bit weird, but I kind of feel like it has more of that like authentic Dragon Ball-esque feel. Definitely going to be interested to see this guy when whoever sculpted him, I'm assuming it's Varroque or Varquo, still don't know how to pronounce his name, because he's usually the one who is sculpting GX Materia nowadays. He's basically, I think, has sculpted every single figure in the line as far as I'm aware. And I know he usually makes a tweet talking about the figure like compared to the manga panels he used as reference, so we'll kind of have to wait for those tweets and see. But yeah, definitely looking forward to this guy as well. Obviously, we do not get that many Master Roshi figures, let alone buff Master Roshi, right? So definitely very cool to see the boy representing out here. I am very excited for that. We do have some multi-angles here. Here is Gohan. Hopefully the arm is removable. You know, honestly, I kind of agree. Low key, maybe you could take the actual like regular arm out and then you could just have the clothing there, right, for his sleeve. That would be pretty cool if they actually had that as like a feature. Yeah, bro, why does my man have the nanogenics cut? Am I tripping, or does this look like Nano's hair when he gets his hair cut like super short? I swear this is the nanogenics cut. I'm gonna tweet that, bro. Anyway, this guy looks really good. As you can see, that's why he kind of looked a little bit weird from the front facing angle, because his back is arced, right? Obviously, it makes sense that, you know, he would look a little bit like that because, of course, that arc is like that. So that's why his body kind of is shaped like that. I think this looks good overall. It's maybe not the best Future Gohan figure that I've seen, right? I do think there's maybe a little bit more hair on the back of his head. Like, the front looks really good in terms of the hair. But I do feel like it's maybe cut a little bit high there. Nonetheless, though, I do still think it looks pretty good. I'll be interested to see what this guy looks like in person. I'll probably still pick this guy up because I really like the BOS line. And obviously, there is, like, not a ton of Future Gohan figures out there anyway. So definitely, we'll probably cop this guy. Be interesting to see. His sculpt there's something about it that is putting me off a little bit. Maybe it's because his arms are so skinny. But I mean, to be fair, like, Future Gohan was not as bulky, certainly, as Goku, but I feel like he still wasn't this skinny. I don't know. Definitely, it's a little interesting, right? Funny enough, people are complaining about the two arms. It's so funny. Only in Dragon Ball would you hear people complain about a character having two arms with Future Gohan, but I mean, they don't commercialize him enough with one arm, so I completely understand it. We have the boy Master Roshi here with the multiple angles. Definitely very, very cool. This looks awesome. I do kind of wish the ball was a little bit bigger, I will say. Oh my gosh, his back does not have a lot of detail. I kind of wish... Holy cow, that looks amazing, though. Unfortunately, you can actually see the line where the figure's kind of stuck together there, but still pretty cool. I wonder if he actually has eyes under those glasses. There hasn't been a picture yet where we can really see that. This is cool, though, that it kind of is, like, accented around him, that it's sort of like the effect pieces blow back around him rather than kind of being like normally outstretched. Yeah, I definitely really like the look of this, honestly. I think it looks pretty cool. Again, I think his face may look a little bit weird for some people, but this is pretty accurate to Dragon Ball as far as I'm aware. I think it's because his gums show, but I mean, in this scene, his gums do show. So, yeah, I think the boy looks really good. Oh, you already know I'm trying to get to the boy Piccolo, bro. Look at him, dude. I'm going to save the image right now. Holy cow, this guy looks awesome. Oh my gosh. That is incredible. His face looks like perfect too. Oh man, I really hope they don't mess this guy up. Look at the side angle, bro. He looks so good. Oh my gosh. Dude, he looks awesome. I'm glad they included that as well. Holy cow. Here's another angle from the back from these orange background production images. Wow. Guys. Tell me you're not excited for this guy, bro. This is crazy. I'm so excited for him, man. Holy cow. Last couple of things we have here. This will probably be what Goten's figure looks like in terms of the pose, because the Trunks figure was literally the pose from the promotional art that we've seen everywhere in the movie. So since this is the one that they have for Goten everywhere, that's right next to that same render of Trunks that's in the pose that we just saw for that figure, I'm assuming this is what the Goten figure is going to look like. That will be awesome if it does, and not just like his hands at his side, because obviously just a little bit more unique will be really cool. But it'll be cool seeing Goten's hair like this, and obviously this will be the first official, like, not baby Goten, like not small child Goten. I'm sure way back in the day they probably made like a GT Goten figure, but obviously in terms of like it being canon, right? This will be really cool to get a Goten figure. And the last thing that we have for today, this is just kind of interesting, dude. It's kind of crazy. So Tom and Jerry, right? In August, Tom and Jerry Harry Potter figure, and Just goes to show you, right? Tom and Jerry keeps going. Meanwhile, Zenkai Solid got axed. You guys remember, right? Just how far Goku's commercialism has kind of fallen off, right? Back then, the Tom and Jerry, these two figures, got more orders than Goku that month. Which is absolutely insane, and I have a feeling that that is going to remain. It's just so funny to me that Tom and Jerry is king, bro. You would have never thought that Tom and Jerry would be the thing to dethrone Dragon Ball when it came to figures, but this is the timeline that we are in, ladies and gentlemen. And that is going to do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I am so incredibly excited for this history box Orange Piccolo. I hope you guys are too. I am so looking forward to this guy. I cannot wait until we get more images of this guy, more in-person images. Hopefully they show him off at either the Banpresto lab or maybe at some kind of prize fair event that we have coming up or something like that, because I would really love to see more images of this guy. It'll also be interesting to see how big he is, because again, like we saw earlier in the video, that Bardock that we took a look at was from the history box line, and you saw how small that guy was compared to the Gohan. So it'll be interesting to see if they make this guy a little bit bigger, because typically the history box line is kind of known for being on the smaller scale. So this guy may even be smaller than the Blood of Saiyan's Gohan Beast, which will be kind of interesting if that is the case. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I will definitely be curious to hear. Let me know what figure you are most excited for. I'll also definitely be picking up the DXF Trunks and, of course, Goten when we get him shown off either in the next or the one after that figure news video. But obviously, Trunks isn't coming until August, and Goten isn't coming until September. But thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. By the way, new figure video on new figure unboxing video coming this week. Yes, I know you guys have been waiting for one. I've just been doing figure news videos, but I finally found a way to work them into everything that I have going on. So look forward to that, and it will be superhero related, so look forward to it. Thank you for sticking to the end. You get this little sneak peek. I will catch you guys in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.